What is up, guys? We're live here. We're live on TikTok and we're live on YouTube. We got a big week. We've been waiting for this for what, a year? A
Yeah.
year? Like Eagles, Giants. Jizzle and I talk all the time. We talk shit to each other all the time. Who's better,
All the
Eagles?
time.
Who's better, Giants? It's
Facts.
every single week.
Yeah.
This is the week. Eagles and
This is it,
Giants,
man.
both really good teams. Justin, if you got, hey, we're going to do a score prediction. Come on into my YouTube, Cahtah Media. Come on in. But yeah, it's going to be a really good game. I don't care what the Giants' record is. I don't care what the Eagles' record is. I don't care what the Eagles just did to the Titans.
Right.
The Giants are going to play the Eagles hard. They are. It's going to be a close game. And I'm not even 100% certain the Eagles will win the game.
This feels like a trap game for the Eagles.
It feels like every single game. It feels like every single game over the past 5 weeks for the Eagles has been a trap game.
Yeah.
That's what it feels right now. Is the Eagles are so good that every single game's like, oh shit, we're gonna get trapped.
That's because they have a target on their back. That's just how it is. When like, because the Eagles are like their top 3 team in the league. That's just how it is. You know?
Yeah. Seriously, yeah. Well, I mean, right now they are top 1. There's nobody that really. Yeah, the Chiefs are playing extremely well too. But right now, the Eagles are number 1.
The Chiefs and Bills, I feel like, just had a much harder schedule, and they've played much tougher games. And there's nothing the Eagles can do about that. It's not their fault. They're just playing the games on their schedule. But like that, you have to like realize that is true.
Well, the AFC is just so much tougher in general. It's so clear right now that the NFC is a weak conference.
Totally. I agree with that.
But one of the things that is helping the Eagles get to the point where they're at right now is they have an MVP play. Their quarterback is an MVP candidate right now.
Right.
I would have never, ever thought that Jalen Hurts would be this good.
Yeah.
I was saying his ceiling was a top 10 quarterback in the league, like a fringe top 10.
He's definitely surpassed that.
He is a top 3 quarterback in the league and any day of the week right now. And now that's how he's playing right now. Is this going to continue? Who knows? Yes, he's playing some weaker teams. He has A.J. Brown making all these catches for him. They have the best offensive line in football. These are all things that contribute to that. But it's also Jalen Hurts is making plays with his legs and just throwing some great passes. Those
teams have to respect the run. Like, he's such a talented runner. And I've said this before. I've been saying this the last couple of years. Jalen Hurts is easily a top 3 running QB. I don't know about passing. There's still a little work to be done with the passing. I'm not saying he's bad, but there's still a little work to be done. But I have never disputed the fact he is a top 3 running quarterback in the league.
Yeah, and I almost feel like that running aspect is almost more dangerous than the passing aspect because you can sit back and play coverage all you want.
Right.
But if Jalen Hurts can just run for 15 yards at a clip, like, good luck.
Right.
And not only do they have that, they have the best offensive line in football who gives them 6 seconds to throw the ball. And if nobody's open, goodbye. Like, and they have one of the better defenses in football right now as well. So the Eagles are dangerous in all aspects of the game. And I'm trying not to get too ahead of myself because I've seen this before with the Eagles where they get off to a hot start. But at this point, it's not even a hot start anymore. Like they're in December now. These are
not the 2020 Steelers. Like it's not that. It's not like they start 11-0.
The 2020 Steelers were good, but you could tell from the jump that they were.
Right. They had a fatal flaw, and they were winning games close.
Yeah. The Eagles, there's been a couple games they've won close, but a lot of them they've just dominated. And a lot of these games that they won close weren't that close. It's just what the score said.
It's the same way. It's the same thing as that Eagles-Jaguars game earlier this year. Technically the score was pretty close, but that game was not close. It was clear dominance for the Eagles, and that's something that I think separates the Eagles this year from any other team is they've just displayed dominance, and like they're not they beat the fraud allegations. People
Yeah.
people are always going to call the best team in the league frauds for a
Well,
certain period of time.
and it's still the NFL. There's no such thing as an easy win.
Any given Sunday, it's
Yeah.
such a true thing. It's the
Like
reason why you can't just bet
the
bet the
Giants
over every time.
the Giants could win. There's 100% a shot the Giants can win. I don't care
I
if the
mean,
Eagles
yeah,
are favored by 7. I'm taking that. I'm taking that +7 for the Giants every single day of the week.
there's some
Divisional
dogs at
game.
home.
It's going to be
Yeah,
raining. Jizzle and I are going to be freezing our asses off.
yeah.
But that's what NFC East football is in the winter. Like I'm thinking it's a low scoring game. But enough gloating about the Eagles. The Eagles are playing extremely well. We know that. What's going on with the Giants?
So I think there's a couple things that have been happening with the Giants. I think it partly is it's mental restraint that's holding them back. I think a lot of it is injury. I think I think the receiving core is just in shambles, and the coaching does not trust them to do their job, and that's really hard because and I actually made a tweet about this earlier today. Like Daniel Jones is so good, but it
Yeah.
doesn't matter when you have receivers who are just flipping burgers at McDonald's, who are just driving Amazon trucks. Like it doesn't matter who you have back there, because what good is it to throw the ball if you don't have a guy who can catch it?
Yeah, in my opinion, the Giants right now are like the way we saw them playing earlier this year is like a year ahead of schedule to me.
Right.
I feel
Right.
like they're on their way to being a playoff team, but they're not that yet. And they could still sneak into the playoffs. There's
They
still a chance.
probably will get to the playoffs. I really don't see where a world where they don't make the playoffs. But of
Yeah,
course,
but
it
they
happens.
still they almost remind me of the Eagles of last year, where
That
they
everyone
snuck into the
that's what everyone
playoffs,
says, and I totally agree with it. That's what everyone says, and I 100% agree with it.
which isn't
Because
a bad thing. It's not a
right,
bad thing. Because the biggest thing is this is seeing if Daniel Jones is the guy, and to me, he's proven he's pretty damn close. I
yeah,
don't know. I don't know if for some reason they do get like a top 5 pick and Bryce Young's there. Do you take Bryce Young over Daniel Jones? I don't
this is
know
not the
because
draft.
I mean
I think you
there's
give
the
him one more
contract
year, and if
too,
yeah,
but yeah,
he won't be that much money though. Like he's not going to ask for that much. I don't think he's going to ask for that
yeah,
much money.
but still not asking for that much money. He's still going to get $30 million.
Yeah, but that's cheap for a quarterback nowadays, because he's going to be paid like probably a top 15 guy. That's what he's worth. And he's really good. That's going to be an underpay, because and I made like that tweet I made earlier today. I said, you want to know how good Daniel Jones is? Take him out of the game and
Yeah,
watch that
watch Tyrod
average
Taylor
NFL
play,
offense.
and
Yeah,
Tyrod Taylor is not a
exactly.
bad quarterback.
Right,
Tyrod Taylor is
exactly.
not a bad quarterback. Um,
Exactly.
but yeah, the Giants seem to be slowing down a little bit. But this is almost, I don't want to say it's a must win for the Giants, but it's a game that if they do want to make the playoffs, they're going to have to hopefully win.
If
Do you
they
have an
well,
AJ Brown jersey yet?
they don't have to
Yes.
win this game, but if they win this game, their playoff chances go from like 50% to like 80%. Because
Yeah.
if they lose to the Commanders, the Commanders still get the tiebreaker, and they will get the spot over the Giants. But
Well,
the Commanders are probably going to lose out after that, because if they've their hardest games of the year the last 3 weeks.
and I mean,
And
even with the Eagles, like the Cowboys are straight on our tails.
right,
They're
right,
2 games behind us, but you lose to the Giants, and then your next game is against the Cowboys.
yeah,
Good luck.
yeah.
Good
I
luck.
mean,
Like,
I can't imagine. Imagine the Eagles lose to the Giants. Cowboys fans would be on your ass, bro. They'll be
oh,
on your ass.
they're gonna, and they will, and they probably should be, but at that they're it's gonna be close no matter what happens. Like I don't there I still think the Eagles are going to split with the Giants and split with the Cowboys. That's
Right.
what I've said from the start. So
Even
them,
if it's because the Eagles are resting starters at the end of the year and the Giants have like it's a win and you're in like type
yeah,
situation, I think I definitely agree with that. Because it's the same with the Commanders play not the Eagles, the Cowboys at the end of the year? That could be
yeah,
their ticket.
yeah,
I mean, who knows? Yeah, but this is a really tight playoff race between like this game coming up next Sunday on Sunday Night Football is going to be a huge for the whole NFC because it's gonna
well,
this
and
is gonna shape the playoffs.
I'll feel a little bit more comfortable if the Eagles do beat the Giants, they're in the playoffs.
Right.
Obviously, you want that number one seed, but that's not easy. Like, I feel like the Eagles' hardest part of the schedule is this end of the year where you got the Giants twice and you got the Cowboys. Those games to me are almost harder than playing the Vikings and playing the Titans. I don't care
Let's
what
see
the
what they got.
records are, but
So
divisional games just wind up being tough.
so after this game, you got the Bears. That's an easy pickup. Then you got the Cowboys. Probably like going with our theory, you'll probably split with the Cowboys. So now you're at 2 losses. If you we gotta see what happens this week, tomorrow or Sunday. But after that, you got the Saints. You probably pick that one up too. I
They
think
better.
worst case
They had their
scenario.
draft pick too. They better win that game.
I know. Worst case scenario, you probably finish the season with 4 losses.
Yeah,
That's
it's
worst case
worst case
scenario.
scenario. And yeah, it's 13-4 and
Right.
wild card team. That would be crazy. 13-4 and you're a wild card team. And they'll probably
Yeah.
be the number 2 team in the league.
Well, how many losses are the Cowboys at? They're at what,
They're
3 losses?
3, yeah.
Yeah, so they got the Texans, they'll pick that up. They got the Jags, they'll pick Wild's schedule. Then they got the Eagles, the Titans, and the Commies. That's an
Yeah,
easy
their
schedule.
hardest games. Yeah. The Eagles
That's,
are the same way though. Like on paper, the Eagles should smoke the Giants. On
right.
paper. But this isn't on paper, this is the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the nature of division games. Division games are always going to be like a toss up. I mean, unless it's like the AFC South, like where it's just like an awful division. Like it's kind of always going to be a toss up
Yeah.
because they know each other so well. And
What's up, TikTok? We're live on YouTube right now. Come on in. Cahtah Media is my YouTube. Come through. We're chilling. Talking about some Eagles Giants coming up.
And I'm really upset because this was supposed to be the game that Odell was going to be back for, and he's probably not going to be ready till the playoffs. And there's a good chance he's going to sign with the Giants, which I'm happy about. But this was going to be the game he was supposed to come back for.
Did you see the new news with Odell?
Yeah, he's probably going to come to the Giants.
The Eagles are in on him now.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What? But like,
all I could see the Eagles signing him for is to keep him away from the Giants and Cowboys.
it's the
Which
same,
I'm cool with.
It's the same. Yeah, it's the same. Like for the Cowboys, like it probably doesn't really make a lot of sense for them to sign him.
Yeah, because Johnson's back for them now.
Right. Yeah.
But the Giant, if there's one team that needs him, it's the Giants. In the whole NFL, it's the Giants that needs him.
They don't
Instantly.
even need him to be that good. They just needed him to be like mid Odell. If they get mid Odell, they're a scary team. They are a genuine scary team.
I don't know if they're a scary team. They're a playoff team that may be able to win a playoff game.
They're gonna do some damage. If they get Odell, they're gonna do some damage in the playoffs. I think they'll win a playoff game.
Yeah, but the whole Odell situation, I mean, you got 3 NFC East teams going after him. We don't know if he's even going to play. We don't know the extent of that injury. If it's that bad, teams might not even touch him.
Yeah, I know one thing for sure. He's not going to the Cowboys. He's not. That's over. That's over.
I think the whole Cowboys thing was smoke and mirrors anyway.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think he was doing that. I think he was doing that just to mess with Cowboys fans a little bit.
Maybe I think he most likely he did that for leverage. He wants a bag like that. That's like his goal. It's like a big thing he's going for right now. He wants his bag.
It's gonna be tough for him to get though. Every time he gets hurt.
Yeah, but like you give him like a 3-year, like I don't know, $13 million deal. I give Kenny Galladay's contract to Odell any day. any day.
Well, Kenny Galladay is just
Yeah, that says more about Kenny Galladay. But like my point is,
I
the
did not say
Giants
the
need
Eagles were
Odell.
getting Odell. I said that the Eagles were in on Odell. There's multiple reports out there that the Eagles are in on OBJ.
Right.
I'm not the one reporting this. Others are. So, look it up. Go on Twitter. It's there. I didn't say that I want him. The only reason I see signing him is to keep him away from the Cowboys and the Giants.
Right.
That's it. They don't need him because I think I don't want Quez Watkins isn't a better receiver than him, but I think he fits the Eagles better because he's more of a speed threat than OBJ
Right.
is.
Right. Yeah, I think that the Giants, and I've said this in past years, the Giants they got their slot guys. They love their slot guys. Even Hodgins is a slot guy. But like Odell is like that number one receiver. And I think it makes too much sense. It makes sense for Odell. It makes sense for the Giants. It makes too much sense for him to sign with New York. Because, if he wants his bag, he's not going to get it playing in Dallas. He's not going to get it playing for the Eagles. Because the Eagles and Dallas are not going to give him a long-term contract. They're not going to make him the number one receiver. And if he wants that bag, he's going to have to play as a number one receiver.
Yeah.
And show he still got it.
Well, and either way, I mean, he's going to have to go somewhere and prove it over, even if it's only 2 or 3 games. He's going to have to prove that he is the same Odell he used to be.
Right.
And coming off a major knee injury, I don't know. He's probably what's going to happen to him is he's going to have to get another prove it year next year too.
Right.
Because I don't see any multi-year deal after him.
I think it also makes sense in terms of like it makes sense in terms of culture, and it makes sense in terms of if the Giants want to bring young guys in and use Odell as a veteran presence. It's the same thing. Even when Saquon is not playing that well, he still hypes up the fan base. He still does so much for the Giants, like with morale wise. I feel like Odell would do the same thing. It would be the same thing. Like he just has a way of like getting the fans hype. Like the fans love Odell.
It's interesting. Like the Giants, they seem to always draft guys who look like they're going to be studs, play really well for like a year, and then just kind of dip off. That seems like what we're seeing here with the Giants again.
Yeah, I mean, if they can get like Jackson Smith-Njigba,
the injuries are the problem, and it's got to do something to that turf at some point.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the way like these guys run, like Wanda runs good, but like Sterling Shepard, like he doesn't move. He doesn't really move that well. You ever seen that TikTok page, that "Why Are You Hurt" guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he went over Sterling Shepard. Like the guy does not run well. Like he runs in a way that like he's like he tends to like get injured because of the way he runs, because of the pressure and stress he's putting on that knee. And he's what he said about Saquon. Saquon's got he's tore his knee a couple times. Saquon runs well, but he's so strong that when he slams his foot to the ground, when he cuts, when he like
so
does
much pressure
hard
on there.
cuts, it's so much force. Sometimes his knee can't handle it, so it tears. And that's like I wish they would get like some guys who would move better, because that's
or I don't know, do something with the turf that everybody seems to complain about.
Yeah, I don't know how much of a factor that is. I'm sure it'll help if they can get some grass in there.
They're already talking about banning that type of turf already.
They should. They should. If it's increasing the likelihood of injuries in any way, they should ban it. It's just.
I think if you have an outside stadium, you should have grass.
Right.
Like the domes,
the only
I get
reason
it.
you shouldn't have grass is if you right.
Yeah.
I think the thing with
it's like high school football teams and all who can't afford the maintenance on grass.
Right.
The New York Giants and New York Jets can afford grass.
They're like the Giants. I don't know what the Jets are poverty. The Giants are like one of the biggest franchises in the world.
All sports.
One of the biggest companies in the world.
Yeah. There's one of the
their
most
brand.
recognizable brand. Like you think of brands out there,
Right,
you
right,
see New York Giants stuff all over the place. You
right.
see New
Yeah,
York Yankees stuff all over the place. Like
right. Yeah, it's the same thing. They're just they I think if they can afford it, which they can, which they 100% can, get that grass out of there, or get that
I
turf
know
out of there.
exactly why they don't have grass right now. It's because they don't want to paint over the end zone every single time
Right, right.
because they
Yeah,
have to switch because the Jets can't afford their own stadium.
right. Because Jets are poverty. Yeah, they're in our house. They're bumming off
Yeah.
us.
All right,
So
guys on TikTok, if you guys have any questions, come on into the YouTube, ask the questions there. It's hard for me to see the comments. My phone's so far away from me right now. But yeah, what do you think is the key to victory for the Giants in this game?
I think the Giants need to keep Daniel Jones upright. I think that's number one. If they can keep Daniel Jones upright, um, I think they have a really good chance of winning that game. I think because Jones, like he's such a refined passer as of this year, and he's been making good decisions. He runs that offense so well. I think the receivers need to be consistent, and they need to not even like get like super open and like just route guys up. Just be consistent and don't drop passes. Um, I think they need to play disciplined. If they don't if they don't get a bunch of flags and they play disciplined, I think they have a good chance of winning. Um,
Yeah.
because that's what's been happening a lot too. Like a lot of it, I feel like has been bad officiating. Like that Commanders game, the Giants definitely should have won that game because there was a missed call.
I trust me, I know about
Right,
Commanders games and officials, which I don't see how the Commanders keep getting calls in all these games after seeing all the shit that's going on in their front office.
right,
But you think the NFL would want to try to screw them over, but no, I guess
right.
not. Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess
What are your keys to victory for the Eagles?
I think they got to get the run game going. I think Jalen Hurts is better. I mean, it's hard to say that because Jalen Hurts just threw for almost 400 yards last game and 3 touchdowns and ran for one,
Right,
and they barely ran the ball at all. But I think going into the colder games, that winter when the wind is really kicking and it's raining or it's snowing outside, you got to be able to run the football, and this Eagles team can. But they just need to stick with the run. Miles Sanders is 76 yards away from 1,000 yards. First Eagles running back to get 1,000 yards since LaShawn McCoy. So I think they should just feed the ball to Miles Sanders and have Jalen Hurts run the ball some and control the clock is the biggest thing. If you let Daniel Jones control the clock, the Eagles will lose because the Eagles like to play that bend don't break defense that the Giants could be on the field for 9 minutes at a time, score a
right,
touchdown, and the Eagles go 3-and-out, and the Giants come back right back out and go on another 6-minute drive.
right.
And that's how the Eagles lost that Commanders game. So if there's one way to beat the Eagles, it's controlling the clock. But if the Eagles just run the football like they have been when they want to, good luck to any team.
I remember that game we went to last year, and like it seemed like every single time the Eagles ran the ball, it was like a 8 yard run. But
Yeah,
like they would
but they didn't. They didn't.
run first down, and then they'd pass the ball, and then now they're behind the sticks, and now they can't get the first down.
Yeah, honestly.
Jalen had a horrible game, but like that was the trend, and like I feel like if they can
Well,
running
and
the
the
ball against
difference
the
is
Giants,
this year is if that's AJ Brown instead of Jalen Rager, the Eagles win the football game last
right,
year.
right,
I mean, and I don't think there's much debate to that.
right.
AJ Brown is just some of the catches he makes is insane.
I
It's
want to
funny because
see.
I saw a stat comparison of his first, I think it was first 5 years in the league against T.O.'s first 5 years in the league. AJ Brown was better stats wise,
Right,
which is
right.
just wild to me.
I mean, it is more of a passing league nowadays. But AJ Brown is really, really good. He's really, really good. Um,
Um, what do you think on Saquon? There's questions out there. Do you think he's playing or? What do you
So
think?
yeah, it's a neck injury. We gotta see. I probably will have an answer tomorrow. Um, but it's just I don't know. This is a blow. This is a blow. But you know what? I always say as long as Danny's on the field, there's a chance. My guy
I
Danny
think what
Dimes.
we need to do is throw Ndamukong Suh out there and let him do what he does best
Oh my
against
god.
Saquon Barkley.
Oh my god. Top Guns. Bro,
Stop that shit.
I was so upset when they signed Ndamukong Suh.
Oh, I was, and those two signings there, that Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh signing, were two veteran guys. You're like, okay, maybe there's something. And I mean, they've played really well. They're not all pros anymore by any stretch of the means,
Right,
but
right. That's not why
but
that's not what the Eagles brought them there. We all know why
all
they
they
brought them there.
just be able to stop the run. And you saw what they
Right,
did against Derrick Henry last week.
right, right.
And Jordan Davis isn't really fully back yet. That's going to be scary once Jordan Davis is back and really playing. And he hasn't even really started pass rushing yet. Jordan Davis is going to be a great player. And I
Yeah,
was pissed when they made the pick. You know I was. I
right.
wanted Kyle Hamilton, which he looks like a complete
Well,
bust.
we
But
both knew that wasn't a bad pick. We both knew that
I
wasn't
I
like
didn't
a
like the
bad
trade
pick.
up.
Right, right. Yeah, I think they didn't get the guy they wanted, but they still got a really good guy at that
Yeah.
spot. I
Well,
don't think he's the
and
best GM in
I
football.
didn't realize how much we really needed a run stopper until you saw him not playing.
Totally, totally.
Like they were putting up 140
Yeah.
yards on the ground against us, and then Jordan Davis comes in there. Goodbye.
Yeah, just like I say all the time about Daniel Jones. You want to see how good Daniel Jones is? Take him out the
Yeah,
game. Take him out the
yeah.
game. Yo, so
But
I want to talk. I want to talk. So how? Yeah, hold on. You want to know who the worst GM in the world is right now?
Brian Dable.
Joe Biden, baby.
Oh my
Joe
god,
Biden. Joe Biden is like the Dave
dude,
Gettleman of
he didn't even
presidents,
get a draft pick back. How you
bro.
gonna make that trade? Not get a draft pick back?
Trump would have got a first.
All right.
We
Before we
gave,
get canceled,
we we gave up the Lord of War for we gave up Prime Jordan for Kemba Walker.
I really wonder what it would have been like if it was LeBron instead of Brittany Griner.
Right, right.
Like you can't tell if it was LeBron, they would have had him out of there in a day.
He would, yeah, he would. They would have sent the U.S. military to break LeBron out.
Yeah, yeah.
I think Brittany
But
Griner is just like so. It's not even like I see people making it a race thing. It's not a race thing. Brittany Griner is just annoying as hell. Have you ever seen clips of her talking? She said she
I
could beat
don't.
Boogie Cousins in a one-on-one.
Oh my
Stop it.
god. All right, before we get canceled, this is an Eagles Giants podcast. So, Jesus Christ. Yes, that's the other part of this Eagles thing is Howie Roseman should have just made the trade for Brittany Griner because he would have given up. He would have actually gotten back more
He
return.
would have gotten. He would have gotten that.
He would have gotten
Fogle
Putin to
guy.
resign.
He would have gotten them. He would have gotten Putin.
Well, look what he did to the Titans. He traded for AJ Brown, and then AJ Brown made the dude get fired. That's wild. Oh my! AJ Brown got the guy fired after Howie Roseman. And it wasn't a bad if you're getting returned back for a wide receiver, a first round pick for a wide receiver is not a bad return, especially one that needs a contract. So
Definitely.
what's up? What's up?
All
right. Yeah. So player of the game. Who do you think's going to be the player of the game for the Giants?
I think it's got to be a defensive player, because if they actually do end up beating the Eagles, I don't think Jones is going to have like a 400-yard day. I think it's got to be like Dexter Lawrence, or like I don't know. It's got to be a defensive player, in my opinion. Dexter Lawrence needs to have like 4 sacks. I think that's the most clear player of the game to me.
For me, player of the game, it's very simple. It's a guy that you know very well, James Bradbury.
Oh, he's not that good. He's just good in the system.
He's been damn fucking good this year.
Yeah.
I
He plays the
think
ball very well.
I think he's gonna get one of those. Not that it's really a revenge interception, but I think he's gonna get an interception in the game.
Right.
I think it's
Maybe.
gonna, and it's not. It's gonna be something that's not Daniel Jones' fault. It's gonna like tip off a receiver's hands or something, and Bradbury's gonna pick it off. But I feel like that's the way the Eagles also need to win. Whenever they get more turnovers in their team, they seem to win. And I mean, I think they at least had the highest turnover differential in the NFL for a while. I'm not sure if they still do. I think they probably still do. But yeah, like keep the ball. That's the thing that Jalen Hurts has impressed me most with this year. Is yes, he's a running quarterback a lot of the time, but he really doesn't turn over the ball that much at all.
Right. Yeah, he's the running ability makes it a lot easier for him to throw the ball because teams you can't just sit in zone. Like you gotta like respect his running game. That's a huge aspect. But he's gotten so like he's improved so much as a passer. Teams have to respect that too. He's got like one of the best wide receiver cores in the NFL. He's got a great running game. He's got the best offensive line in the NFL. I mean, now I think about it, how much is this really Jalen Hurts and how much is this really just like the team put around him?
Oh yeah,
We've been saying the same thing about Dak for years, but
Yeah.
Jalen's got a super team around him. Who wouldn't succeed? What would Daniel
Yeah.
Jones do behind that team?
I agree. Now, the one thing I will say is the triple option with Dak would not be as good as is with Jalen Hurts. Because Jalen Hurts can break tackles so much better.
Right.
He can juke in the open field better. And I feel like Jalen Hurts is like a point guard out there. The way he's able to fake and read the defense. He doesn't really throw the deep ball much, but it's effective when he does. Do I think Daniel Jones would run it fine? I don't think that Daniel Jones has as much elusiveness as Hurts does, but I think he would still run it pretty well.
Right.
The only guy I could see that would run the offense they're running right now better than Jalen Hurts can is Lamar Jackson, just because he's faster.
Right.
So a couple of those runs, he would be going on for a touchdown instead of a 40-yard gain.
Yeah.
But
right. I got one more thing I wanted to talk about before we get out of here, and it's the way, if there's one defensive coordinator I want to put against a running quarterback, it's Blitz Boy.
Blitz Boy.
That's what. How am I blanking on his name?
Michael.
Our defensive coordinator, Wink Martindale.
Yeah.
No, because he's been so good against mobile quarterbacks this year. He held Justin Fields in check. He did very well against Lamar. I think like mobile quarterbacks is that's like his thing.
Well, like I said, the Eagles need to be able to run the football. Then, if they're gonna put a spy on Jalen Hurts the whole time, then you're gonna have to run the ball the other way, with Miles Sanders, and he'll be open. So, yeah, but yeah, it's gonna be an extremely fun game. Jizzle and I are gonna be there, so you're gonna want to catch it. So,
gonna make some content.
Yeah, Eagles have 23 takeaways and only 10 giveaways this year, so that's a plus 13 turnover margin. It's pretty damn good. I'm hoping for another one in this game. We'll see. Let's go Birds.
Let's go, John.